What are some of your tools? I know you're armed and you've been doing a ton of work to sharpen these tools and have them readily available in your toolbox. But Darren and I and Drew and I, we talk a lot about pattern interrupts and how everything is really our where our attention goes. Where our attention goes, energy flows. And so what works for you? Like what has been working for you as far as those little tools where you can redirect your focus and look at your t-shirt, or some of the deeper, more extensive or intensive work that you've done around healing?
Yeah, I think the deeper one that I'm incredibly proud of is just dedicating or committing to therapy work. I find a lot of pride and joy, fulfillment, passion in committing to that. These last 3.5 years, I maybe have gone one time where I've gone longer than a week in between sessions, and I just make it a non-negotiable that I'm going to go to therapy, and talk about it openly and brag about it and continue to learn from it, and explore it in those sessions. And then I think the other two that I consider a part of my trifecta for my own like self-care is exercise and journaling. So combination of therapy, regular exercise, and journaling are like my three active go-tos. And then the in the moment smaller things definitely are pattern interrupts, like you said, and really just like as if I'm talking to myself as a different person, conversation with myself. So that internal voice talking to myself, thinking to myself, or trying to catch
Mm.
myself thinking to myself as if I'm someone that I love or someone that I care about. Because fortunately for me, a lot of my troubles is because I get so hard on myself and I just say like unfathomable things to myself over minor inconveniences, and I just belittle myself, and I would never ever talk that way to anyone else that I care about. So trying to catch myself and talk to myself or think to myself the same way that I would to a friend who's going through something, or someone I care about who made a little mistake, and really helps me get back to the big picture perspective. Because a lot of times it starts with just asking a question like, is this going to disrupt your peace in 5 minutes, or is this going to affect things a week from now? And a lot of times the answer is no, and allows me to kind of like relax in that moment. So pattern interrupts,
Mm.
self-talk habits, and like reframing practices that just kind of take my attention off of that initial trigger, are the smaller in the moment practices that I like to do. And I think a combination of that is like somatic stuff. So like whenever I'm feeling stressed and I catch myself in those moments, usually a very innate subconscious thing that follows is a really deep breath that I'm not trying to do, but that like bigger breath to kind of reset the nervous system allows me to kind of like calm down a little bit. But at the same time, the continuous process is that I'm not great at it, but it's definitely getting better than it was 3.5 years ago.
When I hear about your trifecta, moving, writing, talking, and it sounds like freedom. Like that's freedom, right? To move your body is to move stuck energy. When you're moving and breathing with purpose, your energy can't be destroyed, but it can be shifted, right? It can be moved. And I think that's the importance of movement. I mean, every morning it's like very clear why I move my body. It's all for my mind. It's so that I can be free from myself, ultimately just getting out of my own way. But moving, writing, we've talked a lot about on our show about journaling, how the process of it's getting out what's inside of you, because if you don't get it out, it's going to turn on you and eat you up from the inside out. So there's the writing component, and then there's the talking component of it. So I think it's cool that I'm just weaving in this. I heard the word freedom as you talked about those three. And I think also the quote of to be free is to free others. And I look at Darren and I look at you, Drew, and it's like this is what you guys are doing in your life through the mess and through the pain. So I'm not sure if I even have a question in there, but I really want to, well, first acknowledge the both of you, but I think like this is really what sets us free. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I think the word release came to mind when you're talking about freedom. Those actions that I do, or those acts that I do, are really just a space to allow me to release a lot of those things or be more free. Because one quote that one of our team psychologists always says is that the body always keeps score. So if you're not getting it out, if you're not purging it, all the ugliness, all the unorganizedness, your body's going to remember it. So that next minor inconvenience, you might react disproportionately to the inconvenience because your body is storing all those things from the past, and you might just have a blow up over something so small, which I say you or other people might, when really it's like that's what happens with me. So if I'm not releasing those things in my journal, in therapy, no matter how irrational or dramatic I feel it might be, when I release it in those safe spaces, it allows me to have a little bit more freed up space to react or respond in a way that I'm more okay with or not as triggered with. And I really think the
Yeah,
intention attached to it too is so important. Like the exercise part, like the intention that I have with my exercise has completely shifted from when I was 18, just trying to look good without a shirt. Like I do it, like you said, for my mental health, for my stability and my emotional stamina. So trying to create some adversity, intentional adversity, to try to be present. If I'm not present, I might get hurt. If I'm not paying attention, having to turn off the noise of putting my phone down, all those things, all the intention that I put into or what I think I'm doing it for is way different than it was 10 years ago.